So I got the door off the car. I had to cut that out and attack that lock to get it unlatched because I could not get it unlatched. Other door, got it fitted to the car, went down to the farm, got a door off one of the old cars. It's actually in, well, it looks to be in really good shape. Also got a dog leg section here cut off the car. So what I'm going to do first is get the door painted, get it put on, and then I'll do the dog leg afterwards. Pulled all the glass out. Pretty much my method is just unbolt everything and then everything just comes out with these. And this rubber strip here, I just get a screwdriver, give it a little tap, and it crushes, puts pressure on that, and then it flicks out generally, and the whole thing just flicks off. So I'm just using paint stripper. And this is how good it works when you put it on nice and thick. Pretty hard doing this one hand, but just to show. Straight to the bare metal. So the idea with the paint stripper is to get it on nice and thick, like that. Just leave it for like a minute and start scraping. It'll come up like that, and just get as much paint as you can off, and then just run over it with a strip disc just to clean it up. So I'll just scrape that off with the paint scraper, and that's just one go with a paint stripper. There's only obviously one layer of paint on this door, which is good, must be original paint. So it's all done now. I'm just going to let it, some of that leftover paint stripper that's in some of these corners just dry hard, and then I'll get the rip disc out and just run over it, clean it up, and I'll see how straight it is. I don't think there was any bog in this, so which is a bit of a bonus. Yeah, I'll just clean it up, and if there is any little small dings, I'll put some bog in there and yeah, get some epoxy on it, and hopefully be able to paint it tomorrow or Tuesday early in the week and get started on that dog leg. Alright, so here we are. I've got it all bare metaled. I did a little bit of bog filling around where the little lugs were for the door strip, because they seem to always put it like a little ding in them. Must be when they install them. Not much. I still need to put a little bit in that little silver area there, but I'm just going to wait until I get a layer of epoxy on, and then I'll just do just a little bit of more filling that's needed, and then yeah, it should be pretty easy. The bottom section's all perfectly straight, and yeah, excellent. There's a little bit of rust on the underside, but it's not really that bad. So had a fair bit of surface rust on it up the top section here, but I got it all off, and the epoxy will seal it good. So excellent. Next step, painting. Welcome to my spray booth, the garden shed. So I've put 2 coats of epoxy on. I'm probably just going to do one more, and then I'll give it a sand, find the low spots, any high spots, put any filler in if needed, and then I'll probably just put some high fill over the top, maybe just 2 coats, and then 1 more sand, and then I'll get the black on. Day 2 on the door, gave it a bit of a sand, and there's just like a little indent along here. Had to fill in. I'm not trying to fill in that line, the factory body line either. I'll try to keep it a little bit smoothed out, but I'll keep it so it looks the same as the other door. And it's about to storm. I'll get that sanded and another coat of epoxy, and then hopefully I can do the black after another final sand. Just getting the epoxy on now. This will be the final few coats of epoxy, and then tomorrow I'm going to give it a sand and like a final sand, and then get the black paint on. Alright, so we're at pre-paint stage. Just went over the door with 400 grit wet and dry with a block, and obviously there's a body line that comes down through here, so obviously when sanding I just try to go to the body line to try not to, you know, completely fill it in, so it'll still resemble a slight body line there. I only did a bare metal on the front side. The back side I just sanded around, so this is more of like a quick job so I can get back to working on the ute. So normally I would lay the door down flat to paint it as well, because it's just easier, less chance of getting runs as well, but I'm just gonna do it like this. Just went over it wax and grease remover. So normally I'd go over the wax and grease remover and I'd have it when it's laying flat, I'd look down the door like this, and because it puts like a thin film on, you can pretty much see exactly what it'll look like once the paint's on, if there's going to be any little waves or anything like that, how straight it'll be. But yeah, I'm not really worried about that either. So alright, I'm going to mix some paint up and get the black paint on, and hopefully it turns out really good. Alright, so first coat is on. Looking pretty nice. Couldn't you say it's near perfect? This was a bit of a rush job also. I spent 3 afternoons from bare metal, getting the paint on, epoxy, sorry, and then getting the paint on today. So that's the first coat. I'm going to do another 2 more coats, so I'll go 3 coats of the black I use is De Beer 2011 black. It's just a black pretty much. I don't use a clear coat or anything like that. It's fairly straightforward to mix up. And if I can paint, anyone can paint, because I'm self-taught. Just takes a bit of motivation and willingness to learn, and you can get it pretty easily. My first few paint jobs were pretty bad, but it's more in the prep work I've found. What you got to try and remember is, especially painting black, when you look down it, you don't want to see waves and ripples in the panel. So it's more the prep work that brings out the nice show quality finish more than anything else. What I'll do when I get 3 coats on, I do a sand and buff. So I usually go 1200 grit, 1500 grit, 2000 grit, and then I run over it with machine buff, and then it comes up like a mirror. But that's only going to look good if the bodywork underneath the paint is done correct. Otherwise, you're just gonna see all these waves down the panel. So, but overall, very happy with this. All right, so we're up to the sand and buff. This is like the pre-buffing process. I'm going over the door with sandpaper. Pretty much just looks like flat black. Start off 1200 grit, wet and dry, and then I'm going to do 1500 grit, then 2000 grit, and then I'm going to go over this with a buffer and some buffing compound. See how it looks. Alright, so just finished sanding the door with 2000 grit. About to start the buffing process with juice and cut and the machine buffer. See how it looks. Alright, so the finished product looks very impressive. It's very straight. Only 2 imperfections, which you can barely see. There's like a slight little small divot here and here. But very impressed otherwise. Now I can get it on the car. Alright, so I've just cut part of this dog leg out, and I've used a spot weld drill bit. It's just like a flat looking drill bit. Drilled out the spot welds. I'm just going to get a screwdriver in here and just whack it in with a hammer until I pry all the rest of the spot welds away. And then this piece will come off, and then I've got that one to put in place. I'll have to get the door on before I can line that up, but I just thought I'd get this off now. So this is pretty cool. I just got it off, and on the underside that's a black coating from there down, and then from there up it's just bare metal. All that's bare metal. Even up the back there, it's bare metal. It's in tip-top shape though. I'll probably just spray some cavity wax on it or something. Straighten this up. Good as gold. Alright, so I have all this stitch welded in, ground all the welds off, trim the dog leg. It normally comes straight down around here. I've trimmed it in for the wheels. Normally there was lead wipe in this area here. I'm just going to put bog in there. And just little welds up to there and around to there. Still got to grind, get the die grinder in there. Probably grind a little bit of that off. And yeah, that's it. It's coming along real well. This is going to be a wrap up on this, working on this car. I had to paint this section here, but I only had enamel paint, so it's going to be take 24 hours to dry. Once I get that in, I'll put the window in, got the rubber in and everything, so it's pretty much 99% done. I just painted all in here with enamel paint. And I'm just going to leave it like that for now, and then get stuck back into working on the ute, including that little bit up there. Once the car's clean, it's not going to look, it only looks kind of odd there because it's so dirty. Once the car's clean, you won't really notice too much. pretty much to fix that. I've got to respray the whole rear quarter panel, and if I'm going to do that, I wouldn't mind fixing this quarter panel because it's got waves in it, so I'll leave that for another day. Oh, actually, also fix the boot. I just put a nutset in that top area because it ripped the nut out, so I just put a nutset in there and it's working good. Problemo solved. Old door, stripped all the stuff out of it. I'm going to use the glass, pretty much everything that's not bent out of that door, put in that door. And then I'm going to get stuck back working on this. Give you a little sneak peek of what I'm going to do before I end the video. So, the floater hubs, just had to put them in the wheel, measure them up. I'm going to use these wheels to measure it, to get the diff length right, because these have got 5" of backspace and the wheels I'm buying have 5" of backspace, so I'm just going to work off that and just to get that right. So that's the next step I'm doing on this. So in total it's taken me, last Saturday I picked up the door and it's now Friday, so pretty much got all that done in 6 days, which is a pretty good turnaround. So that's all. I hope you enjoy the video, and the next video is going to be back on the ute again. Peace out.